and welcome to the MABE podcast. My name is Andrew Rogers. I am the host of this podcast, and I am also the president of the Michigan Association for Bilingual Education. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for listening. My guest today is none other than the dapper Khalil El-Saghir. Welcome, Khalil.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. I'm really happy and honored to be here, especially given how important MABE has been to me for decades.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So we're able, again, this is somebody from Michigan. So Khalil, you work at Wayne RESA, the Wayne County Consortium, and you are a multilingual consultant. Is there anything else about your background that you would like listeners to know before we dive into today's topic?
Yeah, well, as you know, as you could tell from my accent, I'm a multilingual learner myself. So 30 some years ago, I came to the US as a young adult and had to learn English from scratch. I didn't know any word of English, and it wasn't easy. I remember struggling to understand not just the words, but the cultural references, the jokes, even how to ask the right questions. And I remember making so many mistakes, so many jokes were made, and especially talking to women, and so it was tough. And that experience gave me a deep appreciation of what our multilingual learners face every day in the classroom. And if I may, I would like to say something about something that I will never forget. And I always tell this story during training session, is that less than a year after I came to the US, I joined the US Army. And I don't know if you know this, Andrew. And after basic training, one of my battle buddies wrote me a note I'll never forget. It says, "You're a hell of a battle buddy. Don't worry, someday you'll master English." So it wasn't about push-ups. It wasn't about all the craziness that we went through in basic training. It was about English for me. That was the biggest challenge. And it was meant with affection and encouragement. And looking back, it captures just how far that journey has been to me. So today, I work as an education consultant supporting school districts across Michigan to strengthen their language assistance programs and better service multilingual learners and their families. I also train and coach educators on how to differentiate instruction, engage multilingual families, and more recently, how to use AI tools in ethical and impactful ways to support personalized learning. This is the theme of my work recently is, and I've learned that what matters most isn't just the curriculum and instruction and the technology and the strategy. It's whether we're willing to meet each student where they are. And this is where personalized learning is really isn't a luxury for language learner. It's a necessity. And when we tailor learning to their strength and their stories and their goals, we don't just help them succeed in school. We affirm who they are and what they bring to our community. So this is in a nutshell, this is where my focus is as an educator and my vision and what I really envision to have in the next few years.
Great. Well, I'm so happy to have you here to talk about artificial intelligence in the diverse classroom and transparency. This is probably the first time I've done this that I really like my knowledge. I mean, I know because I Google a lot and I see the AI breakdown, but I work primary, so I don't have the same, the stakes are not as high as far as, and also the model in my district of how we service the English learners is not to break down the classroom content for them. So, but I know that's a huge world. So I'm happy to have you on, but I'm mostly going to be listening, and I'm sure I'll have a few questions, but you are truly the expert here. I'm not, I don't feel like I have a lot to say, but I'm sure I'll think of something. But anyway, but without further ado, Khalil, because I have seen your session, or one of your sessions, a 1 hour session on using artificial intelligence and the way that you can use it to, again, make the content comprehensible. It's really just amazing if you think of like our early days of teaching and how whatever you did, if you were going to do something like that, well, guess who was going to help you? Nobody. You did it on your own. There was no computer system to help you. So what does that look like using AI in the diverse classroom?
Yeah, this is we're all building the ship and sailing it at the same time. We're at the beginning of this new era of AI, and the way I see it is it's really transformational in many ways, but especially so when it comes to personalized learning. And I'm emphasizing this because throughout my career as an educator, I have seen how important it is to meet the needs of students, and especially for multilingual learners. So personalized learning matters because every student, as you know, every student brings something different into the classroom, including different languages, different backgrounds, experiences, and certainly different strengths and needs. And because of this diversity, we know that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't just fall short. It leaves many students behind, especially those who fall outside the average or beyond the bell curve, such as multilingual learners and special needs kids also, so many kids do not fall into that average scheme, where we create the curriculum for that average. And so for many decades, and even over a century ago, educators like John Dewey and Lev Vygotsky and many others understood this well. Dewey, for example, emphasized that learning must be rooted in the individual experiences of the student, while Vygotsky showed us that real learning happens just beyond what a student can do alone with the right support. So both made the case in different ways for instruction that adapts to the learner, not the other way around. A theme echoed in the centuries-old struggle to shift from teacher-centered to student-centered learning. But the reality is, before the emergence of AI, it was almost impossible for educators to fully individualize instruction for every student. And teachers were already stretched thin, so managing diverse classrooms with limited time and resources. Now, with AI, we have tools that can help educators differentiate more efficiently, whether it's generating leveled content, providing real-time translation, identifying patterns in student data, or offering targeted feedback. AI does not replace the teachers, and I hear this all the time, that AI is going to, it's not going to replace the teacher. It empowers those teachers, and it empowers each and every one of us who go to the classroom and support the students. It makes the kind of student-centered, responsive instruction that Dewey and Vygotsky envisioned actually doable and doable at scale. So this is where I'm really optimistic that for the first time probably ever, we have the ability to support the teachers to create instruction that meets the needs of each and every students in our classroom. That could not be afforded before.
Yes, absolutely. So what might that look like in a classroom?
Okay, well, first of all, we need to train the teachers on creating the lesson planning that would we have to inventory all the needs and strengths that we have in the classroom, including every student that we have, and then we will input this inventory for class A, for example. Like I have a class, every classroom I would input all the strength and needs that I have, and then I take my lesson and ask AI, tell AI to differentiate this lesson to meet the needs of every student that I have in this session, in session one, for example. And what happened, that lesson will be differentiated to meet those needs. And then I'll look and it will, what does that entail? Entails like, for example, what we do with the SciPy's lesson planning, for example. We have a sentence frame. We have visual aids. How can I have visual aids that meet the needs of these students and meets their cultural background, their experiences, their linguistic, and so all these would be embedded in the lesson. That's how it would look. It would look that lesson, the same lesson. I am taking the same lesson and individualize the instruction in a way, or that lesson in a way that would meet the needs of each and every one of those students, engaging them. They would see themselves in it. So instead of having, if I have, for example, and this is one of the examples that I also gave, that I remember when I first came, I took an English test to test my English proficiency and at the college level, and the whole test was about baseball. Andrew, I have never seen a baseball game in my life, and the whole English test was about baseball. How do you expect me to? That's what we talk about. This is it can't be. You cannot really expect the students to be engaged in the lesson if your examples are so foreign to them. They don't look like them. And the names and the stories that I'm telling don't, I mean, if I have a student, if I have a classroom that is entirely Spanish-speaking kids, and I'm all my stories that they're reading, all the books that they're reading, I don't see any Juan, any names, any Spanish names in them. Do you think they will see themselves in those stories? Do you think if all the stories do not really reflect their background, that's not going to be engaging? So this is where AI helps a lot.
So let me ask some questions, because I'm seeing definitely, well, there's the language levels for sure, like the differentiation in terms of comprehensible text. But are you talking about like breaking down the generalized standards and then aligning culturally reflective content that goes along with that and maybe is different from student to student?
All the above.
Mm-hmm.
It really, that's the power of prompting. And believe me, we hear a lot about prompt engineering, and it's not that difficult. Believe me. Recently I read that I think the most popular coding language in the world right now. Do you know what language? Java, or
Java?
it's English.
Oh,
You could code anything right now. All you have to do is tell ChatGPT, if you want to create a code for a software, you just tell ChatGPT, I want you to create a code that does this, and this, and it will write the code for you. So actually, the coding language that we can use is English. So prompting is not that difficult. And I remember when I first started using AI, and I didn't know how to write prompting, so I asked ChatGPT to write prompt for ChatGPT. And that was the first thing that I learned, that you could ask those AI tools to do the work for you. So whether it's grade level, whether it's language proficiency level, whether it's to change it to meet the linguistic skills of the student, and I could take WIDA score put them there, and tell that AI tool to differentiate that lesson and to that read a score. So and also create activities that would meet the, like, for example, for speaking and listening. And we see this a lot. We see some students who are very well in reading and writing, for example, or reading, but not in speaking. So what do? We have to adapt that lesson to meet those needs, those different needs. So whatever is the scenario, you could give me any scenario, just put it there in simple language, and the AI tool will understand and really differentiate that lesson to meet those needs.
So this sounds great, but I would just wonder again, because a lot of schools, generally speaking, they have their programs, they have their curriculums that, oftentimes the vast majority of the time are purchased, and they want teachers, using those things. They don't want them using different stories that they find in other places, even if they do meet the standards. But thinking forward, or thinking forwardly, how can schools build capacity to use AI?
Yeah, this is one of the biggest challenge right now, is building capacity to use AI tools in general, and I believe that every district will have to create their own program for building capacity. Whether to, for example, if you have a district with what we call low incident, like few students, and here I focus on multilingual education in general, but building capacity to use AI is for everybody. But I think you need to focus on where to use AI the most. If you are using AI to support multilingual learners and their families, because this is a very powerful tool because of the translation and interpretation power.
Well, everywhere else can watch and see what Wayne County does, and then, they can follow your lead.
Well, as the largest ISD in the state, and with almost more than 1/3 of multilingual learners in the state, we are leading in many aspects. And we have really beautiful accomplishments in every aspect and every metrics when it comes to our students.
Great. Well, thank you so much for all the work that you have done and are doing. Is there anything else you want to add before I sign off?
Well, I've worked in education for over 20 years, and this is one of the most promising yet challenging times I've seen. But if we stay focused on students, on equity, on thoughtful implementation, we're heading in the right direction. I think that AI is providing beautiful opportunity, not only not only for multilingual learners, but for all students, for all educators. And thank you so much to MABE, to you, Andrew, to every person and at one time I was on the board of MABE. So I know how I really appreciate you all for what you're doing. For Jonathan, Jana, everybody, and thank you.
All right. Yes, thank you so much. And I'm glad to have you here. And I can see my own shortcomings. Like, this isn't my lane, so I'm glad you're here, and I'm happy to support you, and glad you're here to come out to talk about this for people who want to learn more. One last question though, just, is there anywhere that people can go if they want more information on this?
Yeah, they could go to AI for the number 4 ML.net.
Okay, yeah, that's
or WayneRisa.net/AI for ML.
All right. Well, you guys sounds like you're really on the forefront. I applaud you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank
you so much.
And this is going to be our last podcast before summer. So we'll pick it up again in the fall. So people who are listening or viewing, thank you so much for hearing us out and seeing us through. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.